And we are live for a week 7 edition of Ballin In Da Boot. I'm your host, Jace LeJeune, and once again, we got ourselves another exciting show for Ballin In Da Boot, week 7 edition. Man, I say this every week, but it's true every single week, and it seems like we're flying through the regular season. It's kind of crazy. We're really deep into district play. It seemed like you blinked and it was week 1. Talking about the season and getting ready for the season, having Gridiron football media days. But we are pretty much close to the end of the season, man, and it is pretty crazy. So welcome everybody aboard. I just pressed start, so people are coming in, and we're going to talk to a lot of different coaches on the show. And the crazy part about the show, I have no idea who's coming on. I text a couple of coaches coming off big wins for them to come on and talk about their wins. So we'll see who comes on throughout the show. We've had about 3 or 4 coaches every single week. But if you have a comment, if you want to react to a score, if you want to react to your team winning, you want to congratulate your team, you want to find out who did well, who won, who lost, comment below. We'll actually show your comments on the show too. So we encourage you to interact with us. If you have a score, we'll go over the Louisiana High School Football scoreboard. But if you have a comment, if you have a question, feel free to chat. I want to communicate with the fans and talk with the fans as well. As always, our show is sponsored by Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Sidings. Appreciate Tommy for sponsoring the show. Obviously in our BNI chapter, and I appreciate Thomas Kitchener for really helping us as well. So if you're looking forward to repair if you're looking for new windows, new doors, sidings, want to get replacements and all that, Tommy is a guy to call. You can call the number on your screen right here, 225-250-8808 to get an estimate on that. So appreciate Tommy. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Sidings for everything, for supporting Louisiana High School athletics and supporting us here at Gridiron Football. I know we got a couple guys coming on, so I'm just going to repeat once again, if you have a score you want to talk about, anything you want to talk about as you're waiting for coaches to come on, feel free to chime in. I looked briefly after I called, because I call Episcopal games for Varsity Sports Now, recap that game. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting scores to talk about. I know we'll have some coaches come on, so we're going to really go and take a stab at it. We'll start off with the scoreboard as we get more and more coaches coming on. And yeah, if you have a score, if you want somebody you want me to talk about a score, feel free to comment in the comment section, and I'll make sure to address those comments. So we're going to start off with a couple scores here on our Louisiana High School scoreboard. I'm going to press the share button. That way y'all can share the screen. And boom, there we go. So there's our Louisiana High School scoreboard. So we're going to go off with a couple of scores here today. We're going to try to be on tonight for about 12:30 tonight. So like I mentioned before, any comments, any questions, if you want to talk about any team that won tonight, feel free to comment below. I'll try to answer your questions, and we'll try to interact. But let's go right into it until I see a coach come on board with us to talk about their team. I know they're still wrapping up with a lot of games. Let's talk about a couple of scores. Haynesville, they remain undefeated. They are definitely a favorite in Division 4 non-select. They moved to 7-0 on the season with a 62-20 victory over Cedar Creek. So Haynesville, going Tornadoes, looking obviously very strong. Martin Luther King Jr. gets a 28-10 win over Abramson Academy. Remember, Abramson Academy had a strong start to the season as well. We'll go talk to Mr. Wallace. Loyola Flyers. That's right, Mr. Wallace. I know your son Ian is playing. He's going to play in our Gridiron Football Bowl game at the end of the year. But right now, he's a starting center for an electrifying offense, and he's got a pretty good quarterback. He's snapping the football off too, and that's Bryce Restovich, man. And he's definitely in the running for that Gridiron Football Player of the Year for us. They have been firing on all cylinders. It's crazy what the numbers they've been putting up. Undefeated still. This is going to be a dangerous team when we talk about postseason play and how far this team can go. But another win tonight. I know y'all won big. I'm trying to see what the score was for y'all tonight. If you want to put it down, Mr. Wallace, you can, as I'm trying to find it. But it was big tonight. Try to find it. But y'all had to score at least 50 points. I mean, the way this offense has been doing it. Bryce Restovich has been killing it. The whole team has. You're right. I mean, it is a whole team effort. And yeah, I mean, when this offense is going, it doesn't take just one person. It takes a collective unit. And man, I don't know that 50. So let's see. I thought I saw it on scores here. It might take me a little bit to find it. But Mr. Wallace will probably beat me to the punch with the final score 62-14. Yeah, I think that's right. 62-14. Yep, 62-14. That is correct. 62-14 over Woodlawn of Shreveport tonight. Flyers improved to 7-0 on the season, like I talked about it, like Mr. Wallace has talked about. Bryce Restovich has been killing it this year. When we talk about the top passers in the state of Louisiana for the 2027 class, everybody kind of points to Pop Houston. Everybody points to Elijah Haven, but you know who deserves to be in that conversation? Mr. Restovich. Bryce Restovich needs to be in that conversation in terms of one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Louisiana. I don't think anybody gives him enough credit. Obviously, it's great that Ian's having a great season too. At Loyola College Prep and the starting center. I know he's had a great season this year, and he's the captain of the offensive line. Making all the calls at the center position and making sure everybody's lined up in the right spot. So glad that Ian's having a great season. Glad the Flyers are having a great season as well. Miss Naomi Abear, she's a big fan of us, and obviously her son, another guy that has been committed to play in our Gridiron football All-American Bowl game. Jennings Bulldogs for the win tonight. Yeah, a big win for Jennings. So a shout to Jennings. I know Gerald probably had a great game for y'all tonight as well. Yeah, Jennings has really done a great job. I mean, I think it was a 5-2 on the season. I believe the final score tonight, 50. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Abear. 55-14 tonight for Jennings. So another big win. I know it started off with a disappointing loss to Iowa, but it seemed like this team has really gotten in the groove. Speaking of Loyola College Prep, I mean, I played the Lake Charles Prep 2 weeks ago, lost that game, but bounced back. South Beauregard tonight. But before that, y'all were on a 4-game winning streak before that. So seems like 5 in the last 6 games, 5 wins in the last 6 games is something that should be proud of. Gerald Watson, touchdowns, 158 rushing yards, 7 tackles just in the first half tonight. So awesome performance for Gerald. Gerald's another guy that's playing in a Gridiron football All-American Bowl game. So it's been really great performance for Gerald, having the season like he has and be able to put up a couple rushing yards, touchdowns. I know he's also a defensive back, so he's definitely a key player for the Jennings Bulldogs. So I appreciate Miss Naomi Abear for commenting and chatting with us. Mr. Wallace with another comment. He has been a sleeper. You had Ben, Pop, Wardell, Ziegler always getting talked about, and Bryce seemed to have taken a back seat, but everybody's getting to know his name now. Yeah, I mean, it's about time, Lewis, because last year I thought he should have been talked about last year with the season he had last year. I know he jumped on our radar. He was our Gridiron Football Player of the Week, I think, in the playoffs, in a playoff game. And usually when you win a Gridiron Football Player of the Week for us, it's pretty good. But when you win it in the playoff situation, and when you win it in the postseason situation, that is even more impressive. That means you're performing when the lights are at the brightest, and that's what he did in the playoff win last year. Another year in the system. He was a sophomore last year. It is kind of crazy to think about. He's only a junior. He still only has another year left, but like you said, it's such a loaded quarterback class in 2027. If it was any other year, Bryce would probably be the number one guy if it was any other year. But it just shows you what kind of stat class it is in the 2027 class. It kind of reminds me a lot of a couple of years ago when you had like Arch Manning from Newman, you had Ricky Collins from Woodlawn, you had Eli Holstein from Zachary. It was a really top-heavy quarterback class, and this has a chance to be a really great quarterback class as well, 2027 quarterback class. Miss Bear will say, yes, sir. They've been playing and giving their all, and that's what you want to do. Jennings, I have a lot of respect for Jennings, to Coach Fuselier. Does an awesome job. He's one of the most underrated coaches out there. He had all that success, leading Kinder to state championships. And, when I saw that he was able to replace Coach Phelps, who did an awesome job with that program for such a long time, and he was the guy in charge, I knew that it was going to be a smooth transition for Jennings, and you see it right there. A great season last year, and they're having another really strong season this year. So you're welcome, Miss Bear, and I appreciate your support, appreciate your comments and your interaction with the show. So it looks like we'll have our first coach, and when you're on this show, or when you make an appearance on the show, that means you've done something right. And it looks like Hamilton Christian did something right, because the Warriors still undefeated, 7-0. And I'm bringing the guy, the head man, Mr. Hamilton Christian himself. Everybody talks about Javon Vital, but we all know Mr. Hamilton Christian is. It's you, Coach Washington. What a win over Elton. I know there was a Charger line, had a lot of star players. Everybody was talking about Javon, but we know this kid. He went to our camps in the offseason. But McKeon Lemoyne, the running back from Elton, he's also a star player. And, the stars are aligned. I know the stars shone bright tonight. But, Coach, talk about the victory and be able to improve 7-0. It seems like you're having a magical season.
Yeah, Jace, unbelievable win. I'm actually looking at film right now, and just an awesome football game on a Friday night between two small 1A schools with great athletes on them. Being in a small school, most people don't think you have the type of athletes, but tonight, Elton surprised a lot of people because they were very, very physical. They were very athletic. Probably one of the most athletic teams we've seen all year long. And that kid Lemoyne, I tell you what, I don't know what college is not recruiting him, but I tell you what, he's a tough kid to tackle. And, a little bit more experience down there, man. He definitely a Division I running back. We talk about Javon all the time, but
right.
This kid here impressed me, and I've been knowing him and the family for a long time because his brother played. And so I was real happy. There was no injuries on either side. We did lose one kid, one of our safeties, to an ankle injury, so he'll probably be out for the year. But what a great high school football matchup, and our first time playing at home in Lake Charles for the whole season. So we had a big crowd. We was at Washington Marion, really big crowd. So I was very pleased with that.
Yeah, Coach, I know y'all won. What was the final score tonight?
28-21. They end up scoring a touchdown with a few seconds left. I was kind of disappointed. I think our kids, they worked hard for this win tonight. Trust me, we were down 14-7. They worked hard for this win.
Yeah, and that's what you need, Coach, because I know, especially, it's crazy. We're already in week 7. You're in district play. We're past non-district play. It's like, hey, I remember we were at the media day like yesterday. It seems like we're already in week 7. But yeah, winning games like this, right? Overcoming some adversity. Y'all won some games by big scores. Javon gets his stats. Those are nice. Those are pretty. But you're going to have to be able to overcome some adversity and win these type of games in order for y'all to go get where y'all want to go.
Well, and tonight exactly what I told them before the game and at halftime. Before the game, I did tell them, I said, if adversity hit, you have to keep your composure. That was something we learned from basketball. We don't let an adverse situation change our character. And we play 4 quarters no matter what. And at halftime, we went into the locker room, coaches from upstairs. Man, I got a great group of coaches upstairs, man. They know the game of football. And we made some adjustments defensively primarily. We saw what was happening. And when we changed that, we was able to bottle him up a little bit more the second half. And then, of course, we saw some things on the offensive side. And Chris Rito had a phenomenal game. I think he had like 3 touchdowns. And I think the plays that he made were out pretty much all night. And, we just tried to do some things. I think Javon tonight tried to make more plays with his legs than he had to. And it's funny because in practice on Thursday, I said, I need you to throw the ball for 300 and some yards, not run it. And eventually, he bit into that, and he had a phenomenal night passing the ball. Every night is not going to be that night where you're going to just be able to run an open field or do this, And and let me tell you this, Jay, this probably was a great game for us as we go forward, so that we could get better going into the playoff for what people may do to stop Javon, and we could showcase some other weapons.
Right, and that's what not a lot of people realize about this team. If you just kind of look at it from from a 8,000-foot perspective, if you're just kind of paying attention to this team, like, oh yeah, they got that Javon Vital guy is really good, and nobody else. That's not the case. Y'all got some other great players. You talk about Chris Rito as well, and talk about him because obviously you draw a lot of attention with Javon, but also that gets a lot of eyes as well on everybody else on the team, because I know there's a lot of colleges looking at him, which also gets a lot of eyes on everybody else too.
That's correct. Last week we played Grand Lake, which was a very tough game. I was really surprised at those scores. And then going into Elton, Noah Menard had a great game against Grand Lake. So, this week, they didn't let Noah do what he do. So it was Chris week. So, and we got a couple of other guys that, we'd like to get involved with the offense. Our backfield did a great job tonight. I think just alone, they probably rushed for over 100 and some yards. So you bottle Javon up, you bottle him up, and then the tailbacks end up rushing for over 100 yards, and then he ends up passing for so many yards. And that's just what we do, man. We just try to find out who's going to be hot, who they're trying to stop, and try to have a playbook for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just kind of looking at, across the board as well. I mean, obviously, 6-0 or 6 undefeated. And we talked about basketball, right? I mean, because y'all won the state championship in basketball. Obviously, two different sports, obviously, but just those winning principles, winning a state championship on the hardwood. What are some qualities? Because a lot of those guys that are standouts from the football team also play basketball. So it's a great thing to have. But just winning a state championship in basketball, those qualities there, how do you think those translate on the gridiron?
Well, the same kids that played basketball and won a championship, ran track and, almost won a state championship other than the injury to Javon, and they come back into football. And, the winning culture, my kids, they don't believe they can lose. I have to talk to them about or losing games more than winning them, because in their mind, they don't think they're supposed to lose. And, sometimes when kids do lose, they tend to get out of character. And, one of the main things for me is, we don't let a sport or game change who our character is. We want to always be the same person. And then when you win the game, we don't want to jump around and celebrate because we have won games before. So, we try to take a humble approach, not too excited. I think that, and I said it in basketball and I say it in football, the only time you're supposed to get really excited is when you win a championship. For me, I've been doing this a long time, and, for Hamilton Christian to be where they were since in 2020 to where we are now, the stability of the program and the direction it's gone, it is phenomenal, man. We're not a big school. We probably got more kids this year than we've ever had. And, the community excited, the school community, and, we just grateful, man, humble and grateful, and thanking God for giving us an opportunity to be able to compete the way we do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and this has a chance. You don't want to look way too ahead or anything. I know I got a couple games left, and based off the schedule, I know this was going to be based off the record, this was the toughest task. I mean, tonight, but you got 3 games coming up. Obviously, they don't have winning records. I know this is a big game tonight, but just the potential of this team, doing something, going undefeated in a regular season. And obviously, you won't take it one game at a time, try to get 1-0 every week. But, just the potential of having an undefeated season is something that making history of the school. Has that really been brought up or not really over the course of the year?
To be honest, Jace, other people talk about things like that, man. I just kind of focus on watching kids grow and mature as student athletes. I know sports is important in the world today, but what's important is the development of the character of kids, and, to be able to reflect say for instance you do go undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be something the kids gonna remember the rest of their life. But what they want to remember the rest of their life is, trying to make it to the dome, and that's a tough task in itself because
Yeah,
you got Washita Christian, you got Southern Lab, you got
sure.
Riverside, you got Ascension County, you got the district with Westminster. And our division across the board is one of the toughest divisions. I don't care what
It
nobody.
is.
You can go 9-0 and lose in the first round of one of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I mean, last year I made a comment in that bracket. I could have seen 9, possibly 10 different teams. If you would have told me they won state that year, I wouldn't have been surprised. Like
that's
that's
right.
how that's how loaded that division is. And coach, I'm not sure you've really looked at the polls or anything, but right now you are number 3 in 1A. And just talking about the polls and everything, the only 2 ahead of y'all are Haynesville and Jeanerette right now. What do you think about just where this team is ranked? And I mean, obviously, you don't really pay attention to the outside noise or anything, but what are a lot of people still sleeping on this team? And I mean, obviously, there's a lot of noise about Javon, but are there a lot of people you think, in your opinion, are really still sleeping on Hamilton Christian?
I think they are. Tonight or Elton probably was, again, one of the most competitive teams we've played out because they feel athletes. And so, but we do have athletes, and I think people will sleep on us. But the one thing that catches the eyes of most of the teams is Javon Vital.
Right.
They know who he is, they know he's being recruited, big time. He made a big time play tonight. I promise you, they punt the ball. The ball's going out of bounds and it's rolling to the sideline. All of a sudden, he picks the ball up, scoops the ball up, and he runs. That's the fastest I've ever seen him run. And he goes down the sideline for about a 60-yard punt return that was
Yeah.
supposed to be going out of bounds, and that was one of the plays of the night. Kind of put us out in front, and it put us up 21-14 at the time. And that was it. The momentum shifted on that play right there. And, that's the one thing about Javon. Is he's capable of making a play at any time. And so other than Riverside and tonight, probably the first time I seen him, uncharacteristic, lose yardage, get sacked. Normally he doesn't do all that. And, I told him tonight, that's why I like to play games on the road, the home crowd. You're playing the home crowd. And, you know how kids are, man. So, but, again, kept his poise, he delivered. And I tell you, man, Chris Rito was excellent tonight. Caven Morrow, running back. Connor, a freshman. Connor Joyce, a freshman, ran the ball. Listen, man, we just this was a big team win. I'm gonna say that. A good team win defensively. And I'll tell you this, Jay, I'm a young ball club.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the scary part.
Everybody comes back other than 3. I mean, I lose 7 seniors, but impactful players. We lose about 3 to 4 impactful players,
Right.
And so, we got a good rotation going on. So, I'm pleased with everything, man. I just think we're gonna come in here in the morning at 9:00. We're gonna look at some things that we got to clean up if we ever want to get past week 11 and week 12. And try to get back out there and coach it up. There's plenty of room for improvement for us. And what has hurt us more than anything, and tonight was a big help. This is the first time we've been behind all year. This is the first time we didn't score in the first possession. We played from behind for the first time. First time we didn't score. First time we didn't do a lot of things. And, the kids kept their composure. And, like I said, a few adjustments here and there. And, we come out on top.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, I mean, you need games like that because, like we talked about, the division being so, deep, and it's gonna be a battle. It's like a whole new season when you get to the playoffs. That's for sure. Obviously, I cover LSU. That's another part what I do here at Gridiron, and I know that Javon decided to move his commitment date, but just talk about, I think, just being in the middle of the season and your team's undefeated, and that can all wait. He's still got another year left, so just talk about his decision to push the date and just focus on the season, because there's special things going on in Hamilton Christian.
Well, he called me up and say, him and his mom had talked. I'm pretty involved with it, and I don't tell him what to do. I give him advice, but if a kid tell me this is what he want to do, I'm 100% support it. And the next day, it was like, Coach, you know what? I want to focus on the team. I want to make a run with this group. I don't want anything to distract them. And I mentioned it to the team on Thursday, because it actually was supposed to be Thursday. And I think his teammates needed to know it wasn't about him and his commitment. It was about the team and their commitment to what their goals are.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And obviously, as a quarterback, leader of the team, you got to put the team first. And I think that was a mature decision, by him. Because Mike mentioned the scary part. He talked about being young and having a lot of guys coming back, and Javon's one of them, and you can definitely make a run with that. Coach, what do you want to see from your team? Obviously, a couple games left in the season, and then you can really go at running for a state championship. What are some things from the team? I know you wanted your team to overcome some adversity. Y'all did tonight. Y'all played from behind, and y'all came back and won the game. What are some other things you want to see moving forward from this team that you would feel really good about once you hit the playoffs?
Well, our pass protection on the edges got to get better. We got to work on that. Elton kind of utilized some at-skill people on the edge. And kind of beat our lineman off the ball. First play of the game, that guy beat our left tackle so fast. By the time Javon set back, he was already getting hit. I'd never seen that happen all year long.
Yeah.
So, what it showed me was if people looking at that film, they may simulate or try to do the same thing. So we got to go back and we got to do a better job in how to protect even skilled people and move. So we got a little work to do. Our line play got to get a little bit better. It's crazy though, Jace, because if it's not Javon running the ball, we do a pretty good job with other people running the ball. Because they're so focused on him pulling the ball that they leave a lot of gaps up the middle. And, we're going to have to start running the ball a little bit more between the tackle and doing some other things and maybe possibly passing off of that. We're going to come in there tomorrow morning and look at some things, and we're not going to totally redo the playbook. But, we got to look at some other options of things that we got to do, because it looks like we can go downhill running the ball. That freshman tonight ran the ball really, really good. And so I learned a lot from tonight's game. I'm going to learn more tomorrow morning. I kind of focus more on the defense, and actually tonight we did something we don't normally do. I got out of our base defense and I tried something different to slow this kid down. And later in the second half, that defense paid off for us, because we normally are 50, and tonight we played a 60. And, it kind of threw them off for a little while, but, we were okay, man. We were okay.
Yeah, well, there were two players I can tell you for a fact were in the running for Gridiron Football Player of the Year in that game. I mean, one for y'all, obviously, and Javon and McKeelan. McKeelan went to our camp at LC. We had a football camp at Louisiana Christian.
Right.
And we were so impressed. And LC coach was like, can we offer? We're going to offer him now. I mean, he really stood out before the season, and obviously that great off season he had. That's carried off to he's one. I think he's leading the state in rushing this year. So he's an incredible young man as well. So he's going to have another year too, and it's going to be fun. At least having another year with Javon playing against him next year. That's going to be another fun one next year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, Coach. Any final thoughts from your team tonight? A big win, and any closing thoughts before we let you on your way?
Well,
Coach?
It's 10:58, so they got now 22 hours to enjoy it, and we're gonna get back in the film room. We're gonna clean up some mistakes. And hey, man, I want to give a big shout out to one of my former players, Jimmy Zachery over at Liberty. If I read the scores correct, hopefully I did. It was a big win for them tonight.
That is correct.
Tonight over Zachary. I can't wait to get off the phone to call him. I know he and all as well. Jimmy played for me back in the days of Debbie Henderson and all of them. And man, I want to give a big shout out because Jimmy does a good job wherever he goes. So congratulations, Jimmy. I know you might not be listening. Somebody will tell you about it. Big shout out from OG Coach Wars, bro.
He comes on the show, and he was actually on the show a week or two ago, and I actually
Okay.
texted him about coming on the show and talking about it. So he actually maybe visit him in a couple minutes. But what a huge win by Coach Zachary, and you can already tell. I mean, anytime you can beat Zachary, that by the score they did, that is saying something. So already a big impact he's making over there at Liberty. So
that's correct.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Coach, thank you so much for spending a couple minutes with us and talking about the
problem. Jace, thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coach Dexter Washington, Hamilton Christian, still undefeated on the season, riding off to a great start to the season. Always appreciate Coach Washington for joining us here tonight. Hamilton Christian's on the roll. What do you got to say about that? Javon Vital, what he's doing, obviously seals the headlines, but it takes a team, and they won by a team effort here tonight against Elton, a really good Elton football team. So that's going to definitely test Hamilton Christian moving forward. So that's the first coach tonight. We've had about 4 different coaches per show, and we had some really big coaches. So appreciate Coach Washington for spending a couple minutes with us. I know he's a busy man. So yeah, let's talk about some other scores around the state of Louisiana. Like I mentioned, guys, if you have a comment, if there's anything that you want to talk about, I'll talk about, bring up the scoreboard and everything. But before we do that, while we're waiting anybody else that comes on the show, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor here, Tommy's Windows. So if you need doors, windows, sidings, make sure to give Tommy a call at 225-250-8808. So I appreciate Tom's Kissinger. He does an awesome job. A lot of years of experience, over 20 years of experience as well. They do an awesome job. So appreciate Tommy's Windows, proud sponsor of Ballin In Da Boot. We'll be back after commercial break, and we'll continue our Week 7 wrap up here on Ball.
Any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference. Doors and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Ball in the Boot. Appreciate Coach Washington for coming on the show. So we got another comment here, Jessica Gaucher. Let's see, Voiles. I know Voiles came off a big win tonight. Miss Gaucher. Let's see, I know Case and them are having a really good season this year. They've really put on the last couple of games. Let's see, if you want to give me a final score as well, Miss Jessica, you can. Let's see, 24-16 win over Holy Savior Menard here tonight. So a big win there for Voiles. We talked with Coach Bannister and the Mustangs before the start of the season. And I know this was a team that just a couple years ago found himself in the semifinals, and Coach Boone and that smash mouth style of play, and that obviously continues. But this is a team, Voiles has really found that groove. I know it was a slow start to the season for y'all, 0-3 to start the season, but y'all really picked it up, and I believe 4-3. So I believe that's 4 wins in a row. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Jessica, but. Wins over Buckeye, Lakeview. That win over Buckeye really kick-started things for y'all, because I know Buckeye is a really great linebacker, Ty Curtis. He came on the show, and he looked really good as a player of the week for us. And and at the time, Buckeye was undefeated, so that was a big win. It seemed like ever since that win, it just really all it takes is one. All it takes is one really big win to get your team really rolling, and it looks like that's the kind of effect it put on the Mustangs, because you follow that up with a 61-0 win over Lakeview. You follow that up with a 36-14 win over Port Barry, and then you beat Menard. And Menard's been a respectable team and a really good program, so another big win. So Miss Jessica, so yes, sir. So that's I believe 4 in a row over 500, and what a run y'all have had after a slow start. I mean, it's not easy to bounce back. You start off the season, you're amped up for the season, and you fall in your first 3 games of the season. You fall 0-3, and you bounce back from that, and then you win 4 in a row, which is not exactly easy to do. But I give y'all a lot of credit, and I know the Mustangs are riding high, catching fire, and this is the time of year if you want to catch fire and you want to really catch on. This is the time of year you won't really catch on. So congratulations to the Mustangs on a big win tonight. So I did text a couple of coaches. We'll see if we can get anybody else on here tonight. We'll be out here for the next hour and a half. So if y'all have any comments, I know we've had a couple of comments throughout the show. Feel free to interact. I mean, we love your interaction, and this makes the show easier on me hosting a show solo. So any interaction, any comment, yeah, feel free to comment below. We want y'all to be involved and want to put your comments there. So, all right, let's go back to the scoreboard, see what we got here. How about Prairieville getting a 32-28 win over Live Oak tonight? Prairieville, I believe that's 2 in a row. You pick up a win last week, and this Prairieville team, I mean, it seems like they're finding their footing, in this district. Remember what the last year, I mean, they came in right in 5A. Instead of having to go through the 2-3 JV period to really adjust to this period coming up, you just go right into the deep end, man. No kiddie pool or anything, no floaties. You just dive in the deep end with the big boys, and they're really handling themselves really well. I mean, as back-to-back district wins there for Prairieville. They came off a big win over East Ascension last week. That's just always been a district that's been really tough, really tough. I mean, it's kind of like the SEC. You don't know what to really expect every week. I'm trying to get Coach Zachary on. I'm going to see if he comes on the show. But what a win. That's all I got to say. 52-31. And this is against Zachary. The impact that Jimmy Zachery is having on this program, you can't replace it. I mean, what they're doing, that is incredible. In your first year, what you do, you go in there and you get a big win against Zachary. Not only win the football game, you dominated the football game. You won by 21 points over Zachary. I don't think anybody would expect that. And this isn't a down Zachary team. Zachary is undefeated heading into this football game. And this is a moment for Jimmy Zachery. He has championship pedigree. He won a state championship at Opelousas. He brings it here. A championship pedigree, right? And you can tell that's already making a difference over there at Liberty. If you defeat a giant, you're Jack and you slay the giant, right? You're now a giant. And now you're in the conversation with everybody else. You're in the conversation with the Catholics of the world. You're in the conversation with the Centrals in your district. Because keep in mind that district is top heavy. It was Central. It's always been those types, right? Zachary. But now if you're Liberty, you're putting yourself in that position. You're putting yourself with the elite. So that is a huge win for Liberty. Round of applause there. What a win for Jimmy Zachery to get a 52-31 victory over Zachary. I don't think anybody expected that at the beginning of the season. What a win. Congratulations, Coach Zachary. You just heard Coach Washington. That was one of his former players, and I know he's really proud of him tonight. What a win. A program-building win for Liberty. Very impressive, and definitely by far the biggest surprise of the night. Coach Zachary's been on the show. I think he was on the first show this year. So hopefully Coach Zachary tunes in tonight and we can talk to him about that big win because it was a monumental win for the program. So I'm definitely going to talk about that later in the show when we talk about my final takeaways from tonight. But that definitely was one of them. The Willow School picks up a victory tonight, 37-24 over Acadiana Renaissance. We have St. Helena getting a big victory tonight, 50-7 over St. Thomas Aquinas. Opelousas, that was where Jimmy Zachery was that. Coach Harry Coleman is taking over things. I believe this was a Thursday night game. Opelousas won 44-0, a shutout victory over Livonia. We talked to Brent Indes last week with Lakeshore. That was a big win over Franklinton last week. They got their revenge. Remember, after losing 2 games, they lost one in the regular season, they lost one in the playoffs. They get revenge over Pearl River, 42-6 at Lakeshore. They have a couple of injuries, but they're still playing really good football. And speaking of the devil, speaking of him, Coach, I was just talking about you, about that win. I mean, just talking about you.
What's up, my guy?
Also, Coach, before
can't hear you. What you said, Coach?
Coach, before we go on the win, I just talked to Coach Washington. Washington. So Dexter Washington before you came on. So he told me, like, I'm proud of my guy. I'm proud of Jimmy getting the win tonight. So Coach OG Washington want to give a shout out to you tonight, Coach.
Man, that's my coach, man. Coach, man, high school, man. Raised me up, man, from a little pup, man. So that's my guy, man. It's always gonna be personal and real with him, man.
Coach, awesome, man. Congratulations. 52-31 over Zachary. And we knew we talked about on the show earlier about bringing a championship identity, a program. You bring a lot of credibility to a program like Liberty. But to win a game like that, that's the first step to get everybody believing. And anytime you can slay a giant like that, I think that's an easy way to get everybody bought in.
With the school board and all that.
Yeah, I think we got you.
You got me?
Yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
I got to shout out my coaching staff, man. They did a hell of a job managing the sideline. I wasn't on the sideline tonight, bro, so I had to watch from afar. Shout out the coaches, shout out the kids for going to execute the game plan. So again, man, I gotta give credit to the coaches, man. They held it down, man. They called it a hell of a game offensively, bro. We called it a great game on the defensive side, bro. Man, I just gotta tip my hat to the coaching staff and also tip my hat to the players, man, because again, they had to go execute the plays that was called, bro. So man, this is a big thing. I'm happy, excited, and like you say, bro, this is not only a big win, but it's a big program win. Like you said, to get kids to buy in, not only to buy in, get kids to come in. We can compete. We can compete with those guys, the Zacharys of the world, the Centrals of the world, the Catholics of the world. So again, why go over there? We got a great school here. I got a great administration. My principal, Mr. Watson, man, and his staff, man. The administration team is good. Coach Felder, Ms. Davenport, Ms. Clater, Ms. Murphy, Miss Carter. I can't say enough about our administration. Mr. Schultz. Man, they real supportive, bro. Even through this little trying time, what I'm going through on a personal level with the school board. But overall, man, like I said, bro, it's just a big staple win not only for the program, but for the school as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. I mean, y'all not lacking athletes. Y'all won state championship at the basketball level. Y'all competing in the basketball state championship. So there's a lot of athletes just walking around the building, and then you can convince them like, hey, try this football thing too. This is an easy way to recruit them and say, hey, we beat Zachary by 21.
That's right, and the biggest thing, like you say, man, every sport on this campus is established except for football. So it's time for us to put our flag in the ground, as a program, and catch up, because like you say, boys basketball been winning for years. Girls basketball, Coach Wilson does a great job with her program. Volleyball, Coach Bowman and Ashley Williams, they do a great job with volleyball. Softball, baseball. So again, swimming, even track with, Coach Kevin, he does a great job with Mr. Coach Jackson. He does a great job with the track team. We had a kid won state last year, so it was time for football. It's time for football to establish and put our flag in the ground and establish our presence too.
Coach, I mean, 52 points against, Zachary's well coached, and David Burton does an awesome job with that program, with that school.
Great job, man. Me and Brewton, man, go way back. Since he was at Livonia, man. I've been knowing
Yeah,
Coach Brew
yeah.
for a long time, man. And Coach Brew does a great, like you say, he does a great job. Have a great championship program. And he's got his kids coached up. So again, for us to go in there, on their home turf and play as well as we did and come out with a win, man, against a very, very good Zachary team, it says a lot about our program and a lot about the kids and the coaches, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 52 points tonight. I haven't obviously. I saw the score. I saw a couple of things from the game tonight, but I know that your quarterback played a big role tonight, and obviously Zayden. But talk about that backfield duo and how they've really complemented each other.
Man, I can't say enough about I thought Bryce Preston grew up big tonight, man. My quarterback. I think he
Yeah.
rushed. I know he was well over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns rushing. He made sure he was in the correct play every play. He executed the game plan. And of course, Zayden Foster gonna be Zayden Foster. He's gonna run. He was over 250 tonight on the ground. So
Yeah.
he's gonna be. He only had one touch, but he ran the ball pretty well tonight. But Zay gonna be Zay. But I thought the bright spot real was Bryce Preston stepping into his role and becoming a leader of the offense and the team. And those guys rose and they followed him.
Right. I mean, you talk about Bryce Preston. We talked a lot about our media day before the season and him growing in. And I know y'all going to lean on Zayden, obviously, so it makes a whole lot of sense. I don't think he gets talked about enough around the state of Louisiana about how good of a running back he really is.
Man, I'm telling you, bro. I don't know
Yeah.
what college coach listening to this. If you don't have an offer in Zay inbox, you're not doing your job because Zay
Yeah.
Foster he leads the state in rushing.
Yeah.
Like he's the top running back he's the top running back in the state. This guy could do it all. He could catch the ball. He runs hard. He could run by you. He could run through you. I don't know what else you're looking for in a running back. I don't know why you don't have more offers at this point. But if you're a college coach and you listening to this live, you listen to this interview, you need to come offer him because he's definitely a steal.
He is, and he's going to fall to somebody, and he's going to kill it. I mean,
Right.
kind of like Chad Elzy, who played in a bowl game from Ascension Catholic. Going on the radar, nobody offering him. Goes to Kentucky State, he's balling out at Kentucky State. If he falls in the right hands of a program, he's going to make a difference.
Exactly, man. I can't leave this interview without shouting them daggone trenches out, baby. Hey,
Oh yeah,
Zay
that's
is
your
on
position.
fire.
That's your baby.
Come on now, Zay did his thing. Bryce Preston did his thing, but offensive line and that D line, they played some ball tonight, And again, the game is won in the trenches. It don't matter what skill level you got. If you don't win in the trenches, you ain't winning at all.
Yeah,
Shout out the O-line.
Yeah, if you beat a team like Zachary, like those powerhouses you said, you're going to have to win in the trenches. So that's the first thing you're going to have to do, and y'all done that tonight. And I know that's how you won a state title at Opelousas, by doing the same thing about winning in the trenches. I know you've taken a lot of pride in doing that. Just going in. Was there something in practice this week, just being around them, or what the coaches have told you? Just was there something that changed? You felt like this could be a different week, just how practice has been this week, or
we came in, evaluated film, man. We took a tough one on the chin versus the Cali. And we came in this week. We felt like we had a good game plan. We felt like we could run the ball on them and really control the game in the trenches. And again, man, I can't say enough about the trench. I can't say enough about my O-line coach Theory, man. He does a great job with those guys, man. Again, man, an old wise man told me, man, shout out to Joe Spatafora. When you get your first head coach job, the first person you hire is an O-line coach. That's what, and as a first coach Oliver, man, he does a great job, man, with the line, man. And again, I can't say enough about that, but we came into this week, we knew we could run the ball on them if we executed the blocks and did the right things. After watching ourselves in film against Cali, if we'd have executed against Cali, it would have been a different story against those guys. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm just glad that these guys came out tonight and executed at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, the stretcher y'all have, I mean, y'all coming off the Catholic game, and y'all really hung with Catholic. I mean, 38-16, but it could have been a lot closer. Y'all right there with Catholic, and obviously you get a big win over Zachary, and it continues. Y'all got Central next week, and I know they lost to Catholic tonight, and just that tough stretch, but hey, I mean, Conference coming off a win, Central's coming off a loss, and trying to, obviously y'all want to celebrate this one. This is a program defining type of win, especially coming in with your culture. But now you got to focus. It doesn't end. Like you got
That's
Central
right.
next
That's
week.
right. It
So
don't stop. You can't get lax in this district, man. Because again, you got this. Central was in the championship last year. So you can't
right.
you can't get lax in this district. But again, bro, we're gonna go to the table. We're gonna put us a game plan together, man. And again, I have all the trust in the world in my coaching staff, man. We're gonna put a game plan together and hopefully we come out and get us another one next week, man. But again, it's not gonna be easy, man. Under Coach Seminole does a great job with those guys over there at Central. I told my guys tonight. Well, I didn't tell them anything, but once I be able to talk to them again, I'm gonna tell them enjoy this one, bro. We got to get ready for Central, because you can't get lax. You can't soak into enjoy the win now. You got 24 hours, but let's lock back in because we still got a stretch run to go through. Our just don't get no easier. You got Central, Scotlandville, and then you got a great Woodlawn team.
Yeah.
So you don't get no easier. So again, the minute you get lax, that's when you get beat.
Yeah, and Woodlawn has been really competitive. They've
Man,
been
Woodlong is
really
a good
good.
team, man. That's my guy,
Yeah.
my teammate Tremont Douglas over there, man.
Yep.
He's a great coach. Him and Randall. So I know they're gonna
Yeah.
come with it every week in and week out. They're gonna have their guys ready to play, man. So again, you can't take nobody light in our district. You
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. My dad was the head coach at Terra, and it seems like that whole Woodlawn coaching staff was under him with Marcus and obviously Tremone and all those guys. And it's crazy they're doing a switcheroo this year. It's this time with TD. He's the head coach, and now Marcus is the OC. It was the other way around,
Right,
so
right,
a little bit of a switcheroo. I thought
right,
that kind of
right.
interesting too.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be ready,
Yep.
man. So again, like I
But
said, bro, I just go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just going to say, Coach, just your defense as well. I know you talked about the defensive line, but yeah, y'all were able to win by 20 plus points, and obviously your defense made some key stops in this one.
That's right. They did, man. I can't say enough about those guys. They rose to the occasion, man. Joshua Davis had a huge pick late down the stretch. They were putting together a good drive on us. And Josh Davis picked the ball off, man, and then the offense took over from there. We went up I think the three scores once we got that pick, man. We knew we was gonna have to stop them at least one more time.
Right.
And like I said, they got an explosive offense, man, a real good scheme. Um, like I said, you can't say enough about Cole Bruton and his staff, man. They do a great job, man. Everybody in our district do a great job. So coming to this district, this was the reason we came here.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna not only make you better as a coach, you better be ready, you better prepare your team and coach them up. You know what I mean? So, this is why we came here, man, to compete in these games and win these type of games. And like I said, hopefully we can stack some more wins on top of this one.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, huge win. Obviously, I mean, a win. I mean, would have been great and everything, and obviously, it been encouraging for this team. How surprised were you about how well the team played tonight against Zachary?
I'm not surprised at all, man. I'm just glad we put it together. We never put, we talked about that early on in the week. We just waiting on these guys to stop making everybody else season. Let's make our season.
Yeah.
We never put a complete game together, man. Yet, and again, I'd rather peak late than early.
Mm.
I'm glad we put it together. We're putting it together and trying to make this run in these playoffs and get in these playoffs, man, and see what we could do. But I'm just glad we put it. I'm not surprised at all. None of these coaches surprised. We just actually played the way we're supposed to play, and we actually put a complete game together.
Yeah, so y'all improved y'all record, I believe, up 4-3
Four
this
and three.
season. I know it's been kind of like trying to build that consistency. Y'all have had some good moments, y'all have had some not so good moments, but obviously a win like this can really get everybody going. Coach,
Yes,
I
sir.
know it takes a village. You talked about your assistant coaches. Just give them a shout out to tonight because I know you said they were a huge part in the win tonight.
Man, no doubt, man. Coach Oliver, man, O-line coach, run game coordinator, Coach Josh Ellis, running back coach, man. Coach Bush, man, OC, he the passing game coordinator. Coach McGee, man, he's linebacker coach. Coach Troll, he called the defense tonight. Coach Aaron, Jamarcus Aaron, he called the defense tonight, man. Coach, you just can't say enough about the Coach Q, he the wide receiver coach. You just can't say enough about those guys, man. They held it down, held the sideline together, through the highs and the lows of the game. And again, I expected out of those guys, man, the ones that came with me. We champions. You know how to handle the waves and the highs and lows of games, man. We done been in those type of games. So I mean, I had all the faith in the world in those guys that we was gonna pull it out tonight.
Absolutely, Coach. Last question. Really just kind of like a shout out. Shout out to the Patriot Nation, everybody. I mean, that rode with y'all, kind of itching for this moment, itching for a big moment. Give them a big shout out tonight because I know I think they're still partying tonight. I don't think they're gonna be
Man,
sleeping
they
tonight.
happy, man. And shout out to the band, Mr. Gregory. Shout out to the cheerleading coaches, Miss McGee, the dance coach, Miss Jones. Man, shout out Mr. Watson. I can't say enough about my principal, man. Probably the best principal in the world. The administration, man. Shout out to the parents that came, the lawyer parents that was cheering. Man, shout out my family, my mama, my sisters that was in the stand, my wife, man, my son, my auntie. Shout out my cousins. Man, shout out everybody that was in that rooting us on for this win, man. Because again, it took all of us to win this game tonight.
Definitely, Coach. And you're definitely right about the band. They performed at the bowl game for us the
Bro.
last 2 years, and they're awesome. Like
Man,
the
our
band
band
y'all
is second to
have.
none, man. Yes, sir. Mr. Gregory
Yep.
does a great job with them. Mr. Gregory does a great job, man. I love a good band, co. I love a good band, co. They keep me
Yeah.
going.
They definitely elevate our bowl game. I can guarantee you that. So
Oh,
they
yes,
do an
sir.
awesome
Yes,
job.
sir.
Yes, sir, Coach. Go enjoy the win. Go celebrate with the coaches. I know you're gonna have a couple cold ones tonight after that one. So and I'll celebrate. I'll celebrate big.
Yes, sir. All right, my guy.
Absolutely, Coach. Yes,
All right.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Coach Jimmy Zachery. What a win for the Liberty Patriots. That was a huge win for their program. 52-31, your final score over Zachary. That's huge. Everybody talks about the big three in that district. Catholic, Zachary, and Central. And if you want to be in that conversation, you have to beat them. And Liberty has really put themselves in that conversation with a big program changing win tonight, 52-31. I appreciate it. After a big win like that, just to spend a couple minutes with us. Appreciate Coach Zachary for doing that because he didn't have to do that. So that was great. Great big win, and I know that they're enjoying that tonight. All right. So we have Coach Washington, Coach Zachary join the show. We want to try to talk about the scoreboard and add to the stage here. We'll go over a couple of scores here. Marksville, I believe they still have one loss on the season. Before I go there, I want to address a comment. Miss Goshe, I appreciate your comment earlier. Thank you, Gridiron, for all that you do for our boys. I really appreciate that, Miss Goshe. And that's what we try to do. We try to promote high school athletics. We try to promote not only the big programs, obviously they get a lot of love, but a lot of the programs that are flying under the radar, and we're building something great. Programs like Liberty. So we appreciate that, Ms. Gaucher, and I know Royals is definitely on the run. So I hope Case continues having a great season. I know they've been on a roll as of late. All right. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff, guys, really. Okay, let's go back to the scoreboard. We had Marksville winning tonight. A little bit of a defensive struggle there. 14-7 over Caldwell Parish. Ascension Christian, I'm not sure if that's the final score or not. If anybody else can correct me there. Ascension Christian. Either way, it looks like they're in control. Either if that's final or not. 41-20 over East Iberville tonight. Man, Karen Crow, man, they've been putting up some points. We talk about Carson Gursey. We talk about Chance Babin. They look like one of the best players in the entire state of Louisiana. But they've been putting up some points. We all know they can run the football. That's what their offense is about. But when they're showing that they can throw the football too, with Carson Gursey, who played actually as a junior high player, he played in a Gridiron football junior high All-American Bowl game, and he's doing this thing only a sophomore. He's already beating passing records over there as a sophomore. So we talk about quarterbacks in that 2028 class. He's definitely one to watch for sure. Karen Discovery gets a 20-17 win over Ben Franklin. So the Swamp Owls get a victory there. In the Battle of Jeffersons, it's West Jefferson getting a win over East Jefferson, 12-0 tonight. Donaldsonville. I think if I was the final, it was either 20-0 or 20-6. Either way, Donaldsonville gets the victory over East Louisiana. East Louisiana was riding high, had a couple big wins, Slaughter Charter, Episcopal, but they fall tonight against a really good Donaldsonville football team that's everybody having a great year on the coach Darnell Lee. 20-0 there. Rayville gets a 32-6 win over Delhi Charter. John Curtis remains unbeaten on the season. Looks like that. I think they play week 10. I'm not really sure. I do believe Edna Carr and John Curtis play week 10, but if they do, looks like that could set up for another Catholic League district championship. And it was John Curtis that got a 38-24 win over Brother Martin. Hamilton Christian, we just talked to Coach Dexter Washington. They remain undefeated and battle a couple of the state's best players. Javon Vital at Hamilton Christian and McKeown Lemoyne over at Elton. It was Hamilton Christian that got the win, 28-21. Hamilton Christian looking really strong, potentially for an undefeated regular season. Cecilia gets a win 47-14 in impressive fashion. I know it's been kind of like trying to build that consistency. They won a state championship last year, just trying to get back on track. Cecilia gets a 47-14 win over Bo Shin. Looks like they're really starting to get it together at Cecilia. But how about that? Because Grant Lake has put some points up this season. J.J. LeBeau was Gridiron Football Player of the Week just a couple of weeks ago. But how about this for a low-scoring affair? It's Bazille getting a 7-0 win over Grand Lake tonight. Defensive battle there, but the Bearcats able to get it done. Tioga gets a 49-7 win over West Washita tonight. Tioga is still really strong, only still one loss in the season. Case Malone having a really great season at the quarterback position for Tioga. Has been a Gridiron Football Player of the Week finalist for us this year. Brewery gets a 21-13 win over West Louisiana. Remember, Roman, he came and covered the Brewery game. Brewery win last week against Donaldsonville. Brewery Panthers playing some really good football. I think their only loss this season was to the Plaquemine Green Devils. Archbishop Shaw, they're continuing their momentum. It seems like ever since getting that LCA win, Shaw has really put it up to a different level this season. They've been really strong. They've been playing some really good football as of late. And Archbishop Shaw gets a 50-26 win over Walker. We have Gina gets a 60-28 win over Vidalia. Gina, I believe they still only have one loss on the season. We have Vanderbilt Catholic. They get a 41-6 win over Ellender. And I believe Vanderbilt Catholic is still undefeated this season. They are having a really strong season over there in Houma at Vanderbilt Catholic. Turnings Catholic, another team that is undefeated, and they are right now, I know they're up there in the polls, in the LSWA polls, in 1 or 2, but they're up there. They are still undefeated. Turnings Catholic with a 49-0 win over North Vermilion. Speaking of Plaquemine, they get another big win, 53-21. I believe their only loss on the season was to Zachary. St. Michael, they start off the season undefeated. A couple of losses in a row. Remember, they lost to West Feliciana last week, and they followed that up with another loss to Plaquemine, 53-21. St. Frederick gets a 56-12 victory over Del High. How about this? St. Charles Catholic played against Legacy, the School of Science, the Titans over in Houston, Texas, and victory advantage goes to Louisiana, right? As words of Jarrett Roser, Louisiana versus all y'all. It's Louisiana taking that dub, 35-31. Legacy, the School of Science, gets a victory. St. Charles Catholic, considering that their only loss this season was like on the last play of the game to St. James, I would say pretty impressive there, I got to admit. So impressive win there for St. Charles Catholic, 35-31. And what a game when you have this rivalry. This rivalry is always really a fun one. 49-48, East Ascension gets a 1-point victory over Samuel. When everybody talks about this rivalry, these two rivals, they don't like each other. And let's just say it's a special game to go to. It brings an extra element when you talk about this game. Both cities, they close the town for a game like this. They really get things going. East Ascension, man, it's been kind of like an up and down season. But I think the only thing East Ascension fans really care about is if you beat Samuel, and it's a great year. And Samuel's having a great season. Cooper Babin's playing at a high level there for the Gators, and be able to pull out a victory, 49-48. What a huge win for Brock Mathern. And that's one of those games when we talk about the college level. We talk about Navy, Army. We talk about Auburn, Alabama. Like, the thing that they're going to remember the most: did you beat Samuel? Or Samuel, did you beat EA? And for the next year, for next 365 days, East Ascension can take bragging rights on that. 49-48 over Samuel, which is another classic in that historic rivalry. Southside gets a 63-17 win over Sulphur. Big win there for Jess Curtis and the Southside Sharks. This is the game I just called here tonight. I'll talk a little bit about that. Slaughter Charter, 30-6 tonight. That game was dominated by Episcopal from start to finish. Calling this game for Varsity Sports Now. This team is trending in the right direction. You talk about the season. They are 2-4 heading to this football game. And they played some really tough teams. And you talk to Slaughter Charter, great record, 5-0. They lost last week to East Louisiana. And I think those 5 wins, you got to play the teams that are on your schedule, and you got to win. You got to beat those opponents. But you have to look at the strength of schedule. And I think Episcopal was a much more battle-tested team, and that made a lot of difference in this football game. 30-6, it was totally dominated by Episcopal from start to finish. It was their most complete game that I called for them this season. Zach Q had give a shout out to him. The quarterback, he had 3 touchdown passes tonight for Episcopal. They ran the football well with Taj Callahan. The defense played phenomenal. By far, I think their most impressive game from start to finish. Had a couple 4th down stops, 2 turnovers. Slaughter Charter's offense had 1 long touchdown run, but that was about it. They got shut out the rest of the way. But total dominant performance. Just a round of applause for Coach Bourgeois, Coach O'Brien, Coach Stevens, that whole coaching staff. Big victory tonight. So Episcopal, a lot more confident. A lot of people are saying, hey, 2-4, that's probably the best 2-4 team in the state. They go up to 3-4. You play Northeast next week, have a chance to even your record, and then obviously that big game, the district game against Dunham after that. But big win for Travis Bourgeois and Episcopal. Country Day, 49-0. We know about their offense, how explosive they are on the offensive side of the football. They got a great quarterback, got some great receivers, and that offense continues to roll, man. 49-0 over Sarah T. Reed. Talking about offenses and being able to roll, St. Edmund, Coach Shiver's got this Blue Jays team clicking on all cylinders. They've lost 1 game this year. I believe that was the Opelousas Catholic. But this is a team that's scoring a lot of points. I think Nathan Zonbreaker's their quarterback. They got a lot of really great players coming back. And this is an offense that's – you thought that they broke a lot of records last year. It looks like they're on pace to break even more records this year. Got there in place. They're going to put up a lot of points. And Coach Shiver's team, give a shout out to Coach Shiver. He's one of our bowl game coaches. So give a shout out to Coach Shiver. Being a really good Sacred Heart football team, Coach Aguilar does a great job with the Trojans. And I believe that was only their 2nd loss of the season. So big win there for St. Edmund. Riverside Academy gets a 51-6 win over West St. John tonight. Riverside Academy looking really strong as well, and that's one of the teams that Coach Washington talked about earlier. Right, we talk about Division IV Select. That's going to be a team that's going to be really dangerous and a team that won't shock me at all if they make a run. St. Paul's, Coach Sears and the Wolves, they get a big win tonight, 45-10 over Ponchatoula. You had Arcadia winning or beating Plain Dealing 47-0. That looks like that was handled by Arcadia. Lafayette Christian, I mean, they're looking like more and more like a top 5 team in the state. They're looking really strong, 41-7 over Notre Dame. I mean, what can you say about this team? LCA is looking really strong. Their only loss on the season, I believe that was Archbishop Shaw. They've been really dominant this year, and they've been looking more and more impressive. I mean, they don't really have a lot of weaknesses. They can throw the football if they need to. They got some great receivers. The quarterback, Braylon Walker. Everybody talks about who's going to replace Jawan Johnson. Let's just sub in Braylon Walker is an awesome athlete. He's committed to play for the Raging Cajuns. They can run the football too. Cam Ballard's a really great running back, one of the state's leading rushers, and their defense is pretty feisty as well. Big win there over Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a good football team. Obviously, you have Louis Cook, and you have a team that's always going to be disciplined, that's always going to be well coached when you have Louis Cook on the sideline. So big win there. And this team is getting more and more impressive by the minute. 41-7 over Notre Dame. Hammond, how about I'll give a shout out to Coach Buckles, man. 20-17 win over Mandeville. Hammond, I was pretty impressed with them in the spring. I went there in the spring game, saw Hammond play. I thought they totally dominated that spring. It is a spring scrimmage, so you can say what it was. But I thought they dominated that spring scrimmage against Franklinton, and this is a Franklinton team that went to the state championship last year. And Coach Buckles' team, they got a really great defense, really great defensive front. Take a look at Alante Beauchamp. I mean, that defensive end, he is really good. They can run the football too. They're a hard-nosed football team. Remember, Coach Buckles, he played for Nick Saban. So, you know he's going to have a hard-nosed football team, and that is their identity. And they showed that 20-17 win over Mandeville. Big win. Big win there. How about Evangel Christian with their quarterback, Pop Houston? They just put up bunch of yards, bunch of points. They're exciting to watch. But I think what Coach Denny Duran is proud of most tonight, you see that goose egg on the scoreboard, 0. I think that's what he's going to be most proud of tonight. 59-0 win over the Benton Tigers tonight. Big win, overall dominant victory for Coach Pastor Denny and the Evangel Christian Eagles, winning big 59-0. Another team that's been impressive all year long, Edna Carr. They've, until somebody can beat them, they're the number 1 team in the state. I mean, they don't have really any weaknesses. They got talent across the board. Division I athletes are well coached. Like, yeah, I mean, what can you say about them? They're at the mountaintop. I mean, they're at the top of the mountain until somebody knocks them off. I mean, they are the team to beat in Louisiana. And Bryce Brown is building a dynasty over there at the car. And anytime you have them, you're going to be doing great things. You're going to be contending for state championships, and that is what Edna Carr is doing. Another big win over the Jesuit Blue Jays tonight, 41-0. Covington gets a 28-7 win over improved Slidell football team this year, but Coach Greg Salter, Covington Lions get a win, 28-7 tonight. How about Bell Chase? They put on Patterson tonight. I think Bell Chase is still undefeated, 57-19 over Patterson tonight. Dominant performance, winning that game in a blowout, 57-19. Parkway gets a 30-19 win over Huntington, I believe. Coach Brotherton and Parkway, they are still undefeated on the season up there in Shreveport. 30-19 for Parkway. West Monroe, man, what a resume they're building. First, you talk about beating Catholic. That was like, we talk about Jimmy Zachery, right? Beating Zachary. A win like that is so impressive, right? 39-25 for West Monroe. They kind of built off that at home as well when they were able to beat Ash. And you're kind of stacking wins at this point. And West Monroe is looking like a team that is going to be competing for a district title. Anytime you beat Ash, you beat Catholic. Obviously, that's not district, but that's just a big win. And now you beat a really good Ouachita Parish football team as well. That's doing a really great job. And they were undefeated until they lost to Ruston last week, 39-25, West Monroe, with another impressive win to put on their resume for Coach Deiser. Oberlin, how about this? This was a close one. This is a nail biter, but Oberlin gets a 51-48 win over Maryville. Another nail biter. We have Chalmette getting a 23-20 win over the North Shore Panthers. A big win for Coach Tucker and the Owls. North Iberville. I was just at that game last Thursday when they played against St. John. It was a tough earned 50-44 win. North Iberville's undefeated season continues to go on. This time they put a shutout. I know Coach David Masterson, a family friend of ours. I know he's going to be really happy with, as a defensive coordinator, getting a shutout tonight over White Castle. It's been a tough season for the White Castle Bulldogs, but what a season it's been for Coach Gass, for Coach Masterson, Coach Gradney over there, and North Iberville. Bears country. They're riding this wave right now in their second year of varsity action, 48-0 over White Castle. So we talked a lot about that team a lot last week in week 6 of Ballin In Da Boot. North DeSoto, right now, what can you say? They're looking like one of the top 5 teams in the state as well, because you know why? They're undefeated. Not only they're undefeated, they are being that Western Road team. They defeated that Western Road team that's putting up a lot of impressive scores. So process elimination there, right? But North DeSoto looking really strong. They got a really veteran quarterback, Luke Delafield. Remember, he led North DeSoto to the dome his freshman year. Not a lot of teams can say that at the 4A level, and he has a chance to do that again to kind of bookend his career, right? 56-0 over Southwood. Dominant performance, and again, North DeSoto off to another special year. Ruston, how about the Bearcats? 41-37, Ruston Neville, 2 powerhouse programs up there in North Louisiana, and it is Ruston that gets the victory tonight, 41-37 over the Neville Tigers. Ahmad Hudson, I heard, was a big factor in that football game. If you watch Ruston play, you watch Ahmad Hudson play, think of like another Trades Green for LSU. The 6'7" tight end at LSU that's doing a lot of great stuff. He's, you have 50-50 balls. It's more like 80-20. It's not 50-50. It's more 80-20. You have him on the outside. Anytime he's covered, he's open. You just throw it up to him. That's Ahmad Hudson. And you're going to get a battle from Coach Collins and Neville. Like I said, these are 2 of the powerhouse programs up there in the Monroe area. But Ruston, we knew that this was going to be a team that was going to be one of the top teams based on talent heading into the year. I know there's no such thing as moral victories, but Neville was just right there, had a chance to win that football game. But you got to give credit to Ruston and getting that victory, 41-37. Very impressive win for Coach Ball and the Neville Tigers. South Terrebonne, it looks like this says fourth quarter. And that's less otherwise. Looks like that South Terrebonne took care of business tonight, 41-14. Let's see. Opelousas Catholic gets a win tonight, 57-6 over North Central. Opelousas Catholic. We talked to Coach Mathern just, I believe, a couple weeks ago. They get a good victory over North Central. South Terrebonne, 48-14. We have St. Mary's Catholic. This is the first time. That's impressive defensive effort because Montgomery has been averaging like 42 points per game. Their quarterback is committed to play in our Gridiron football All-American Bowl game at the end of the season. And Mason Jordan, and anytime he can hold that electrifying offense, the Montgomery Tigers, only 18 points, you've done something right. So big win there for St. Mary's, getting a 42-18 win over Montgomery. Manny gets a 66-40 win over Winfield. Mansfield, sorry, Andy, once again, your Rose Pond Eagles trying to find their first win of the season. Mansfield gets a 45-14 win over the Rose Pond Eagles. How about this in overtime? Ville Platte gets a 28-26 win over Mamu. We just talked to, comment in the comment section. Ian Wallace, that's the starting center for Loyola Prep. His dad commented with a score earlier in the broadcast. 62-14 over Woodlawn of Shreveport. Man, Bryce Resovich. I'm going to ask his dad what his stat line was tonight. I'm sure it was pretty good. Bryce is one of the state's leading passers this season, and it was like he's in the running right now for maybe a Gridiron Football Player of the Year this year, the way he's been playing all season long. 62-14 over Woodlawn. Loyola Prep continuing to fly, man. Undefeated, I believe, at 7-0. Loranger gets a 28-7 win over Archbishop Hannon. Tonight, Livingston Collegiate gets a 33-0 win over Booker T. Washington. We have LaSalle gets a 24-22 win over Northwood Lena. Logansport with a shutout tonight over Lakeview. A big win for Coach McGee and the Tigers, 52-0 over the Gators. Red River gets a 49-21 win over Lakeside. Lake Charles Prep gets a 34-20 win over St. Louis Catholic. We have Richwood. I'll give a shout out to Coach JT, Coach James Taylor. They get a 28-14 win over Lake Arthur. Their Lake Arthur's linebacker, Wyatt Monso, was a Gridiron Football Player of the Week 2 weeks ago. And they come up short, 28-14. Give a shout out to Coach JT, Coach James Taylor, the defensive coordinator over there at Richwood. They get a 2-touchdown win. Lafayette Renaissance, they bounced back. They lost, it was a blowout. Last week they lost to their rival LCA, but great bounce back performance for Lafayette Renaissance. 52-7 over Welsh. I think they took out their anger and frustrations on the Greyhounds this Friday night. Acadiana, seems like they're picking up some steam. It seems like they're playing a lot better football after a slow start to the season. But they played some really tough teams to start the season as well. But Acadiana gets a 42-21 win over the Mighty Lions over there at Lafayette. Big win for Coach Dotson and the Wrecking Rams. Bonneville gets a 34-14 win over John Eyre. We already talked to Miss Abear. I know her son. She's really proud of her son, Gerald. Gerald had a great performance tonight for Jennings. 55-14 over South Beauregard tonight. Jeanerette remains undefeated. They get a huge win over a team higher in class, St. Martinville. Man, Jeanerette, what a season they're having. Still undefeated. I know they're ranked, I think, number 2 in Class 1A in the power rankings, 18-13 tonight. They remain undefeated. Estruma gets a 12-7 win over Broadmoor tonight. So, good win there for the Indians. I know this is a much improved Broadmoor team Coach Sarah's putting together. So a good win there for the Indians, 12-7 tonight. Kentwood gets a 24-0 shutout win over Independence. Slow start to the season for Kentwood, but it seems like they're getting their feet going. It seems like they've been on a roll as of late. Let's see. Avoyles gets a 24-16 win over Holy Savior Menard tonight. We already talked to Miss Gaucher as well in the comment section. She wanted to give a shout out to the Mustangs. I believe that's 4 wins in a row for Avoyles. Gets a 48-6 win over Terra tonight. Thibodaux gets a dominant win, 33-3 over HL Bourgeois. Good win for Coach Narcisse. Let's see. Homer gets a 22-14 win over Green Oaks. Good win for Coach Casey and the Pelicans over Green Oaks. How about this score? How about Wastman putting 73 points up on the scoreboard, 73-36 over Grant. A lot of scoring. Grant has done a lot of scoring on their own right. I know their running back, Amite Sykes, is one of the state's leading rushers this season. But it was all about the Wasserman Wildcats, 73-36. So if you took the over, you should be a happy man because that was a big performance. Let's see. Leak Academy beats Riverfield Academy out of Rayville. MAIS score right there, 45-16. Lincoln Prep gets a 25-7 win. How about Lincoln Prep getting a win over Glenbrook, 25-7? A little bit of a shock there. General Trask gets a 46-0 win over Block. Franklin Parish getting a dominant win over Peabody, 55-14. Franklin Parish, one of the teams I'm really highly of. They got a lot of talent over there up in Winsboro, Louisiana, with a lot of Division I commitments. 55-14 over Peabody. West St. Mary gets a win, 14-8 over Franklin. Salmon gets a 32-7 win over Fontainebleau. We have Eunice getting a 38-0 win over LaGrange, shutout win there. Coach Tyler Lewis, give a shout out to Tyler Lewis. Been on our show a couple of times here at Ballin In Da Boot. They get a 52-14 win over East St. John. Coach Lewis is doing a great job, building a great program there over there at Terrebonne and Homa. Edie White, big district win over Letcher. Actually called that game last year, and it was a defensive battle last year for the district championship, basically. And this time, Edie White gets their revenge over Letcher. Letcher won that football game last year. This time, Edie White gets their revenge, 31-21. Edie White, after, I think they were like 0-3, 0-2. I was like, yeah, don't pay attention to that record. They're going to be just fine. And Coach was saying it seemed like he's right the ship moving forward. Leesville gets a 39-14 win over DeRidder. Good win there for Robert Causey and the Leesville Wampus Cats. 39-14. Give a shout out to Coach Blankenship, 21-7 over the Quincy. Get a big win there for the Tigers, and it seemed like they've been picking up some steam. They got a couple wins in the last couple of games. Denham Springs looks really strong, man. It looks like they're going to be right there for that district title, 42-24. I think Dutchtown only had one loss, and there's going to be that type of wins that can go a long way and determine who's going to win a district championship. So 42-24, Denham Springs over Dutchtown. We have De La Salle getting a 42-18 win over LB Landry tonight. The Arbonne Woods Charter gets a 56-26 win over North Caddo. Parkview Baptist gets a 50-0 win over Collegiate tonight. We have Hanville getting a 49-14 win over Central Lafourche. Central Catholic gets a 34-13 win over Centerville. St. Thomas More, I think I saw that Cole Bazeron, the quarterback, committed to play for Virginia Tech, their start quarterback. I think threw for 5 touchdowns tonight for St. Thomas More. 63-10, your final score over the Como Spartans. Catholic New Iberia, defending state champions over there in Division 3 select, 49-6 over Delcom for Catholic New Iberia. How about in the battle of CHS, Catholic High and Central? It was Catholic that dominated 57-28, and Catholic especially with losses tonight from Zachary. They defeat Central. They defeat Liberty, who beat Zachary. Catholic's right now in the driver's seat, man, for a district championship. A dominant performance. Remember, Catholic just a couple weeks ago lost 2 in a row, and they lost to West Monroe, and then they lose to a team in Mississippi. But I think that actually helps Catholic just refocus their mindset. A couple humbling losses, and I think that refocuses them. And when Catholic is on their A game, they may be the best. They may be the best team in state when they're on their A+ game, and they dominated. They left no room for error. They ran away from this football game, 57-28. And I think Turner Goldsmith had a great football game for Catholic. They have a couple of really great running backs. Everybody talks about Jalen Miles, their running back, who's a 4-star 2027 guy, but they got about 4 junior running backs that are all really good. So they're not going to lose anything when one of them is out. Just the other one's going to come in and he's going to do great. So Catholic seemed like you're going back to the Catholic of old we saw to start the season and how dominant they were to start the season. 57-28. Got to give a shout out to my Bears. I know we've had Coach Fuller on the show before a couple of times, trying to reach out to him, but I know they're coming back from Central. Another coach we've had on the show, Coach Marcus Scott from Dexter. They get another big win, 68-28. Obviously, a lot of talent on the offensive side of the football. They got an experienced quarterback. Everybody talks about Jabari Mack, LSU commit, wide receiver. They got a great running back, Malachi Dabney. And when they're all clicking as well, the Dexter hard to beat. And Captain Shreve just could not slow the Dexter train tonight, 68-28 for the Wildcats. Calvary Baptist shuts out Union Parish. It's kind of like a more of a rebuilding season this year for Union Parish, but still impressive win for Calvary Baptist. The shutout, a coach, a well-coached Joe Spatafor football team like that at 48-0 over Union Parish. That was a statement made by the Cavaliers. Natchitoches Central, how about that? Big win for Coach Brad Laird. Yeah, that's the same Brad Laird, the former head football coach at Northwestern State, doing a great job over there at Natchitoches Central. And 35-31, Natchitoches Central gets the win over Bird. Bunkie still undefeated. This was a test. This is a really good Buckeye defense that they played against. But Bunkie's still undefeated, still going strong. And, a lot of people are going to be paying attention to the end of the season when they'll have to play Gina. But until then, Bunkie is looking really strong, looking like that they're going to have another deep playoff run as well. Everybody kind of questioned them before the season with a lot of guys. A lot of guys that played in our bowl game, Dylan Compton being one of them. Kyle Johnson, who's at Mississippi State right now. But they have a lot of still great players left. They got a good quarterback. And obviously Zion Lee, their running back, who's been a battering ram for them. And they're going to play really good. They got great defense. They're well sound. So big win for Bunkie. Bunkie continuing to be one of the best teams out there and especially in that class. Northwood Shreveport gets a 48-14 win over the Bossier Bearcats. Minden gets a 55-30 win over Booker T. Washington. East Beauregard gets a 60-6 win over Bolton. Erath, I believe they're still undefeated. 49-0 over Berwick. They got a really good quarterback as well, and Jack Landry. Yes, they are. So 7-0 on the season, or the Erath Bobcats having a great season. Catholic Point Capee gets a 43-7 win over Birchman's Academy. Catholic Point Capee trying to contend for another district championship after winning it last year. Barb defeats New Iberia 49-0. Kendrick John Lewis, as you well know, if you've probably seen it earlier today, was our Gridiron Football Player of the Week last week for his performance. 6 touchdowns, 450 yards of offense, insane video game numbers, but Barb able to shut them out tonight, 49-0. South of Fouche, 55-28. I believe they were without their head coach tonight, Coach Young. I know Coach Young, I think, made some comments about the officiating in their last game, and he couldn't coach tonight. But what I do know is they got a great quarterback in Joshua Mack. They got a great receiver over there, too, and Terrence Petrie, and they got some playmakers, and they were able to put on Assumption 55-28. South of Fouche, when they're rolling, man, they're hard to stop offensively. Ascension Episcopal gets a good win tonight over Vermilion Catholic, 35-14. The Blue Gators looking really strong this season. I believe, I could be wrong. I know they're doing a really good job this season. No, 5-1. I thought they were undefeated. They do have one loss on this season, but that's another building win for the Blue Gators, 35-14. Ash, they bounced back. Remember, they suffered their first loss of the season to West Monroe week ago. But Ash took out their frustrations on Pineville, 49-3 over the Rebels of Pineville. Albany gets a 46-0 win over Springfield. We have Airline in a tough one, 36-28 over Houghton. We have Mangum. How about Mangum, man? I'll try to get Coach Wilcher on tonight, but Mangum's had a couple really impressive wins. Last week, they defeated Faraday, and this is a tough stretch, right? You got to play Faraday, who's really talented at 2A level, and then you got to turn around and play Oak Grove. And what you do, you win. If you split those two games, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. But they defeated both those teams. They defeated both Faraday and now Oak Grove, 49-28. St. Martin's Episcopal gets a 49-0 win over Crescent City. St. James, it seemed like they're catching a little bit of a rhythm here ever since winning that crazy game against St. Charles Catholic, 40-8 over McDonough 35. And this was a thriller, too. I heard this was back and forth, but Jacob Crane and Franklinton able to outlast Abbeville. This was a back-and-forth battle here, and Franklinton able to get that victory. This was a Thursday night game. It looks like we're going to the Thursday scores. 33-30 over Abbeville. Franklinton with the win. This was the game I was at last night. I'll be able to – at the end of this, I'll probably play a quick interview with those guys that interviewed you last night. Coach Powell over there at Amite, their star player as well, too. He's actually committed to play at Louisiana Tech. You'll probably hear that later on the show. But Amite gets a touchdown drive early in the football game, as they were down 6-0. But after scoring that first touchdown, it was just absolutely dominance by their defense. 20-6, your final score. Amite gets the victory there, and they shut out Pine in the second half of play. And we're going to talk about them. Obviously, that's going to be – I'll show some highlights. We have some time at the end of a big performance from Franklin Morgan, Louisiana Tech commit. We'll talk about that later on the show. Talked about Evangel Christian with a 59-0 win earlier. Newman, we had Coach Weiss on last week after they win a couple of key games. Again, a Pearl River win a couple weeks ago. Newman with a 46-8 win over Cohen. You have Westminster Lafayette getting a 49-14 win over Highland Baptist. They're still a great start to the season for them. Carver beats Abercrombie. Bel Air gets a 14-0 win over McKinley. U High, this is a Thursday score, 57-0 over Glen Oaks. How about this? Talk about a guy who's probably going to be in the running for Gridiron Football Player of the Week. Let's just say he is, but he's a really good one. Everybody thought about, okay, what we're going to do. We don't have Chad Elsey. Chad Elsey played in our Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game last year. And what we're going to do at that position, well, I'll tell you what the answer is going to be. It's going to be their running back, Trevin Simon. He's been stepping up in that role and actually beating some records. His stat line, unbelievable. He had – I'm trying to pull up the exact stat line because this is absolutely insane what he did on Thursday. Just talking about just being records. Excuse me for a second while I put that together because it is definitely worth talking about what he did. And I think it's like 500 yards of offense. It's absolutely insane. 57-35 over St. John. St. John's been putting up a lot of points this year. Let's see. Where's that? 57. Sorry about the delay. Here we go. 519 rushing yards. 519. Yeah, you heard that right. 519 rushing yards for Trevin Simon. That is a school record. He also scored 7 touchdowns. Remember, Chad Elsie got on our radar because he scored 9 touchdowns, I believe, against St. John a couple of years ago. 7 touchdowns, 519. We're talking about 519 yards in half a season's good. He had that in one game. Unbelievable performance from Trevin Simon. Already over 1,000 yards rushing. What can you say about that game, man? I mean, 519 yards rushing. That's all I got to say. 57-35 win over St. John. He was phenomenal that night. I saw him in person. I saw him take on. I think I joked with Travis Bourgeois before the game tonight, and it makes our defense look pretty good, giving up what was it, 250 yards rushing. But he's having a great season, and obviously a big key to Ascension Catholic's success. 57-35. Congratulations, Trevin Simon. I know he's probably going to be in the running. I can guarantee you that for Gridiron Football Player of the Week. Kaplan, how about Kaplan? The Pirates getting a 27-18 victory tonight over Southern Lab. A little bit of a struggle this season for the Kittens, but I know once that they're dealing with some injuries right now, but I know they're going to be back to when they get to full strength. I think they'll be good down the line. I think there's a team, this will be kind of deceiving with their record, but you can't really count the Kittens. How about Woodlawn? We got to give a shout out to our guy, Marcus Randall. Obviously, a lot of y'all know that he's a big part of what we do at Gridiron Football, so got to give him a shout out too. And Coach TD, the head coach, Jermone Douglas. Woodlawn wins big on Thursday night, 45-15. And Woodlawn's a team in that district, man. Don't overlook them. I know we talked about some teams in that district. Obviously, a big conversation of the show because we talked a lot about Catholic and Central and Zachary and Liberty, but Woodlawn, man, they're chippy and they're going to make things interesting. So don't count out the Panthers. I think they'll make things interesting in that district as well. Westgate gets a 48-0 win over Rain. We have Madison Prep getting a 63-0 win over the Port Allen Pelicans, and especially how good they played in the non-district when they're playing 4A, 5A teams and had only one loss to Southside. I think it's going to be a kind of a breeze in district play. Obviously, you got a big game coming up against U High, but yeah, it's going to be they're battle tested. Let's just say Madison Prep, and I know Landry Williams is really excited for the second half of the season for a run. Riverdale gets a 45-12 win over Higgins. And that was actually the team I was thinking about that Aaron Weiss and Newman beat when Coach Weiss was on the show of defeating the Rebels. And as they have been an improved program. Vinton gets a 48-12 win over Pickering. We have Kinder with a 50-13 win over Oakdale. We have, this was also on Thursday, Northlake Christian got a big win for their program, 14-0 defensive struggle there. They get that victory, 14-0 win for the Wolverines. Dunham doing Dunham things. I think Elijah Haven, if you want the Elijah Haven tracker, I think he scored 5 touchdowns in their win, over 200 yards of offense against Northeast, 49-0 for the Dunham Tigers. Coach Doty and Sterlington, they get a win tonight, 50-7 over North Webster. Westlake gets a 35-21 win over Iota. Crowley gets a 48-0 win over Pine Prairie. And Church Point, I believe, I could be mistaken, this might be their first win of the year. Let's see. Over Church Point was coming in the game undefeated. That's their second win. So that was a big win there for Northwest. I know it's been kind of a struggle for them, but kind of like Episcopal, you kind of have to overlook what their record's really been because they played some tough teams to start the season. And sometimes record is your record. You kind of like, hey, your record says who you are. But sometimes you play a lot of battle-tested teams and you play a tough non-district schedule, and sometimes you were right there, couldn't win those games. But And I think that proved it there. I mean, Church Point was undefeated too. They're looking really good, but that was a big win. I know Kevon Johnson had a big game there for Northwest. I think that was like the LHSAA game of the week. They were there last night, but 43-33 win over Church Point. Central Private gets a 24-6 win over Varno, so win for Central Private there. Northside defeats Brobridge 46-26. Big win for Coach Fitzhugh and Washita Christian. They shut out Beekman Charter 52-0. Carroll gets a 42-6 win over Bastrop. And I believe we talked about Franklinton getting the win over Abbeville. Jacob Crane looks like he's back to his normal health, which is always a really good thing because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the state. And when Jacob Crane is under center, you always got a shot. Iowa gets I believe they're still undefeated. They've been strong this year. Coach Tommy Johns and the Yellow Jackets, 42-16 over Washington Marion. Patrick Taylor, 48-20 over Jefferson Rise Charter, and there's a couple of JV scores. So that is your Louisiana High School scoreboard for week number 7. Going through that, going through all those scores. But if you're just tuning in, you missed a score, you want a repeat of a score, you want to give your thoughts on your team. We had a couple of comments earlier from fans. We'll put them on the stream if you want to join in. Any comments about your team? Any comments or questions, feel free to chime in. We got about 15 more minutes, but we'll take another break because I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, proud supporter of what we do, Tommy Kissinger, Tommy's Windows. Appreciate them all. Just reliable service, over 20 years of experience. You go in them to get your windows replaced, your door replaced. They're the best in the business at that, over 20 years of experience. If you're looking for some remodeling in that sort, doors, windows, siding, give Tommy a call. Give him a call and their experienced crew a call. 225-250-8808. That again, 225-250-8808. GoTommys.com and go to our website as well. Take a quick break. We come back. I'll play you some interview. Talk to Coach Powell from Amite. Amite was able to get a big win on Thursday night in district, 5 in a row now for the Amite Warriors to be 5-2 on the season. They defeated Pine 20-6. We'll probably get you some interviews there. So 20-6 win there. All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back to wrap up the show.
Operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today. 225-808. Go and you'll Tommy's Windows, doors and siding. Look, operated with you options to transform our business. Call today.
I appreciate Tommy's Windows. Make sure to go see them. I'm a some glitches here. It happens every now and then, but I appreciate you bearing with us. But appreciate Tommy's Windows, doors, and siding. Make sure to go to GoTommys.com. Give them a call for an estimate there. 225-250-8808. That's 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's and make sure to tell them that Jace sent you and give them a referral. So, hey, just give them a solid. Give Tommy's a call and say, hey, Jace want me to send you over to Tommy's. So I appreciate that. That will do me a solid as well. So appreciate y'all guys. All right. So if y'all have any comments, basically fire away. This is a time of show where we're kind of wrapping up, but I'm going to try to show you some highlights, maybe not some highlights, but an interview with Coach Powell. Talked with him. If you want to go check out the highlights, they're available on our YouTube channel. So make sure to like or subscribe to our YouTube channel. subscribe to our Facebook page. Make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com, for everything that we do over here. So go to gridironfootballusa.com, and let's see if we can try to share or screen here. Get you. I had a chance after the win on Thursday. It was 20-6. Amite gets a victory over Pine. It was a huge win. This is like a district championship implications. Obviously, you got Jules Sumner as well, but this puts you in line to compete for a district championship when you get a win over Pine. It was impressive. I mean, their offense just got enough in the first half, but it was really the defense that really led the way to get a second half shutout, which is pretty impressive. So let's see. We have a comment before we go over. All right, Mr. Wallace, I appreciate you just bearing with us and watching the show. We really appreciate your support. Giving one more shout out to Iola. Go Flyers. Enjoyed listening while editing these videos. Thanks, Jace. Always a pleasure. I'm glad that you're able to listen to me ramble on and on about high school football while you're editing those videos, Mr. Wallace. So great win tonight for the Flyers. And I appreciate you listening, and make sure to feel free to share it out. Obviously, the support's always great. So great job by the Flyers. And I know I've been on the Flyers bandwagon. I know they're going to be really tough this year. Trust me, I'm making a run at that state championship. So I appreciate that, Mr. Wallace. All right, so let's see if we can get that interview in. This is Coach Powell from Amite talking about the win, 20-6. You can watch those highlights at our YouTube channel. So I'll encourage you to go and watch those highlights. But, yeah, here is Coach Powell. Let's see if I can share my screen right here. Get y'all to it. You got to love technology, right?
Style and substance in the
Turn for Gridiron Football here with Coach Powell, victorious head football coach tonight against Pine, district rival. You know it's going to be this type of game, grinding out type of game, anytime you play against Coach Seal and Pine. So just talk about, first of all, how proud of you of the defense tonight. I mean, just shut out that physical offense in the second half.
Well, first and foremost, to Coach Seal, his players, his team, his coaches, his community. I mean, their side was pretty much full. I want to give kudos, to Pine High School that, Coach, that's what our kids do in practice. It's going to be a physical game. They a wing T type team that grind. So our kids stepped up to the challenge, but it was all headlined and spearlined by our coaches. Coach Christopher Gordon and Coach Henry Singleton, Coach Sharaf Finn. They do a fantastic job on the defensive side, getting those guys ready to play.
Absolutely, Coach. Obviously, one of the guys who invited the player in our bowl game at the end of the year is Franklin, and I know he balled out really both ways.
Right.
Got the touchdown for you. Obviously, set the tone for you defensively.
Right.
Just talk about him and just how he's really been the leader of this football team on both sides.
Well, we call Franklin the Matrix. He can do a lot of things for us in the return game, on the offense and defense for us. But he's a vocal leader, and he's when I say the essence of a football player, I mean he's that. Louisiana Tech, they're definitely getting a steal.
Yeah, absolutely, they really are for sure, Coach. Talk about how your offense started. I mean, obviously they got really started really early on to really help you get that lead and kind of carry that over.
Yeah, well, we like to try to get the ball in our playmakers' hands, especially Braylon Taylor. He started off for us tonight. He had a couple catches tonight. We couldn't get him in the end zone, but he was integral in the stuff that we was doing tonight. Our quarterback really grew up tonight, Drew Palmer. Drew, he was sitting in the pocket. Was able to dissect outside of the pocket, was able to make plays with his legs. So, but offensively, there's some things that we still got to work on. Our biggest thing tonight was penalties.
Yeah.
We get good sustained drives going, and we would get penalties, kind of knocking us or killing our momentum. So that's something we got to work on next week. And that's not the kids, that's coaches.
Sure.
That's coaching. That's what we have to fix.
5 straight. I mean, I'll start off season 0-2, but y'all played some tough 2 teams. I think Franklinton and Hammond. So what's really changed in the 5-game winning streak for y'all?
It's really nothing, but you know, it's an old adage. You don't want to kind of schedule difficult in the beginning to kind of get you prepared for district, and that was our mindset. You know, we wanted to scrimmage St. James. You know, coach, he called us. Yeah, coach, let's play. Southern Lab, we always play them. You know, Franklinton, let's play. You know, Hammond, let's play. You know, they're 4 and 5A schools for a reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we felt that those games, you know, they'll get us prepared for this stretch of the season that we're getting ready to get off into. So, and also we explain it to our kids. You know, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, a lot of times they don't understand it. But when they start seeing the fruition of, oh, okay, we don't won this game. All right, now we don't won this game.
Yeah.
Okay, the coaches are right. So, you know, it's a situation now where we just got to keep the momentum going.
2 more questions for you, Coach. I appreciate it for sure. Yeah, just obviously state championship is always a goal here with the historic tradition here. But, you know, district championship is also pretty cool too. So this is a big win, especially in a tough district, in order for y'all to try to accomplish that and moving forward.
Right. Well, you know, for us, you know, like you said, it's district championships. They still mean a whole lot here in Amite. You know, last year, you know, we fell short against Sumner, you know, and they're primed to make another run at it again. So, you know, hopefully we get to week 10, you know, hope that could be like a nice little epic clash right there. And it's going to be good football as well, too. So, but district championship is something that we still shoot for. But for us this year and years past, it's always been the one day at a time.
Sure.
You know, we have a mantra, you know, every day 1% better. And that's something that we've been stressing to our kids.
And finally, you just talked about after post game. You talked about these guys, but next week, early turnaround once again next Thursday against Albany, and just trying to get these guys focused on the next game after what was a big game tonight.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. But once again, though, if we, as a coach, as head coach, you know, we kind of sat down with our kids way back in the off season, and we kind of went through our schedule and let them know exactly what we were doing. And as we started getting close to the season, we just kind of reiterated it a whole lot. And we team meet. We let our kids know exactly what's in front of them, and also too, we do a good job as coaches to take care of our bodies as well too. So, you know, we'll give them tomorrow off, give them Saturday off. You know, Sunday we'll get them in treatment, we'll get a lift, and we'll start practice on Monday. We're getting ready to rock and roll for Albany next Thursday night.
Absolutely, Coach. Congratulations on the win, and continue doing the great work, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming out covering high school football.
This weird
A great game here tonight. You kind of did on both sides of football, offense, defense. Just talk about just an overall win for the Warriors tonight.
Yes, sir. You know, it feels good to come out here and beat a predominant team. You know, they're 5-1, but it didn't stop us from coming out here and playing Amite Warrior football.
Talk about the touchdown you scored here tonight. I mean, it seemed like it really got the team going tonight.
Yes, sir. I mean, Coach called me the audible. It was supposed to be a hitch. He bit on it. I just ran the hitch and go. And he couldn't hold it. Can't hold it.
How proud of you are your defense? I mean, that's a pretty good offense. Y'all shut out entirely in the second half.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It felt really good to come out here and against a run-heavy team and stop them. I mean, it gives us a lot of confidence.
Yeah. I mean, we've about the potential of this passing game. It seemed like early in the first half, y'all really clicking through the passing game.
You know, we came along with the passing game. You know, we had some struggles in the beginning, but it just take practice, preparation, and we're going to get better. We get better every week.
Win number 5 in a row for you guys. What does this kind of a game mean for this team?
Man, I mean, this is what we do as Amite Warriors. We come out here and give our fans the best performance that we can give. Proper preparation prevents poor performance is what we do Monday through, really Sunday through Thursday. But today was a Thursday game. We had a short week, and we came out here and did what we had to do.
Building off what Taylor just asked, what's changed? I mean, you'll start off season 0-2, but it seems like y'all got rolling 5 wins in a row. What do you think's changed since then?
Everybody, once we got the 2 losses, I mean, everybody's mindset changed. Like, nobody likes losing. So with us going 0-2, it's like a win. We gotta keep the winning mindset. Even though we went 0-2, that doesn't stop the fact that we're the Warriors. We gotta come out here and do what we gotta do.
Obviously, I mean, the goals are state championships. Obviously, going to the Superdome. Obviously, always at Amite, but district championships always a big goal. So, I mean, just how much of a goal that is for y'all, especially y'all took a big step tonight in trying to achieve that.
With
it's the Matrix. It's the Matrix.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Matrix. It's the Matrix.
Yes, sir. But with district and the state championship, you know, that's our gold standard. You know, district, really the state championship. We try to get there every year. It's kind of been a downfall for us in the playoffs last couple of years, but we still going. We still doing what the coaches having us to do, and we just gotta lock in and do the task.
Absolutely. Shout out to Warrior Nation after tonight.
Yes, sir. Let's go, Warrior Nation.
Absolutely, Frank. Congrats.
All right, you heard it. So that was the game I was at on Thursday. If you want to read more about that, go to gridironfootballusa.com. Amite gets a 20-6 win over Pine. You heard from Coach Powell, and that was Franklin Morgan, great player. And you saw Coach come in and nicknamed him the Matrix. Well, the thing about that is because the reason I call him the Matrix, he impacts the game in 3 phases of the game. He's also wears number 3, but he caught a touchdown pass in that football game. He made so many big hits on defense as a defensive back. That's where he's getting recruited to play at the next level at Louisiana Tech. He's committed to play for the Bulldogs over there in Ruston, Louisiana Tech. And special teams. He also is a great punt returner, kick returner, but the best player on the team for Amite is a guy that can change the game. And we've also offered him, I surprised him actually at the end of the interview, gave him an offer to play in a Gridiron Football American Bowl game. Give a shout out to Coach Powell, Coach Singleton over there at Amite, 20-6. Great defensive effort, shut out Pine, which was a really good physical team at Pine, and that's always been a great fun battle between them and Pine over the years. And when I saw that game was on the schedule Thursday, I had to go to that. Obviously, with my VSN Episcopal conflict on Friday, I had to cover Episcopal and call that game, which was a big win there for Coach Bourgeois. But yeah, I mean, anytime I'm not calling a game for VSN, I'll be happy to go and see other teams play, especially the teams that support us. So a great win over there for Amite. You can read more about that at gridironfootballusa.com. I'm going to take one commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to put an end to this. I'll answer any questions that y'all have at the end of the show and just get my overall takeaways from Week 7. But you're watching Ballin In Da Boot. We'll be right back after one more commercial break.
Doors and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly. Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, locally owned and operated with over 20 years experience and dedicated to providing you with affordable options to transform any home or business. So call today, 225-250-8808. Go Tommy's, and you'll see the difference clearly.
Appreciate Tommy's Windows. Thank you so much for the support of Louisiana High School athletics. Make sure to go give them a call, especially, this time of year. We got storms, hurricanes. We're kind of towards the end of that as we go in the fall, but if you need your windows replaced, door sidings, there's a lot of things you can replace. And, you might as well call the best in the business. Might as well go call the professionals. So call Tommy, give him a call, 225-250-8808. Give them something to do as far as go to the professionals. Go to professionals that can do this every single day. They do that every single day. So with over 20 years of experience, go see Tommy and make sure to give them a call because they are the best in the business at doing that. So, hey, we interview the best of the best here and might as well go to see the best of the best when you're looking for new windows and new doors, new siding as well. All right, so my final thoughts, wrapping up the show. Appreciate everybody that's commented and tuned in. A little bit of a down night in terms of the coaches. So usually we have 4 coaches on, but hey, I'll take 2. I really appreciate Coach Washington and obviously Coach Zachary from Liberty, and then you got to see that interview with Coach Powell on Thursday night as well. And I guess you include. Franklin in that interview as well. So we had a couple of interviews there too. We interacted with a lot of y'all tonight. So talked about some scores, but just going to wrap the show up with some of my final thoughts. As you kind of look at the 5A, when we go to the power rankings, I like to go to power rankings here to see who did well overall. But and the car still undefeated. Ruston got a big win over Neville tonight. Curtis, I mean, it looks like that Curtis Carr game. It looks like that they're going to be. It should be another classic one in terms of like going for the Catholic League Championship. It looks like who's going to be that second team to compete with Carr, and it looks like that John Curtis. I mean, JT Curtis, like you say, you can't count him out, but that could definitely be a game. Western Row, I mean, they have been rolling. What a resume they put together. Now at 6-1, only lost to that North DeSoto, and that North DeSoto is really feeling really good about themselves after beating Western Row, especially with the resume Western Row has been able to use. Another marquee win over Washita tonight. How about the story? I think tonight was, and we talked to them. I'm glad that even though we usually have more coaches on the show, I'm glad it was pretty impactful too. Obviously, Jimmy Zachery. I mean, that was a huge win for Liberty. Talk about coming in, establishing a culture. It's not easy to do what he did. I mean, he left Opelousas where he was winning state championships. He felt, I mean, it's not easy to leave a job where you're comfortable, winning state championships and taking a risk. That was a risk going to Liberty, especially in that district, as tough as that district is, to compete with the Zacharys of the world, the Catholics of the world, the Centrals of the world in that district. And in your first year, you go and you beat one of those. That is a statement. That is a statement saying, hey, you belong, that you can compete with the best of the best. That was a huge win there for Coach Zachary over there at Liberty. And what's the best way? I mean, you could say it. I mean, you could come in there with a state championship ring and say, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. Because I know Coach Zachary, I know he preaches tough love over there. But another thing is, hey, results. And you go and you win that game. That's an easy way to really buy yourself into the football program. Let's see who else. Catholic, big win tonight over Central. That was definitely a big takeaway. Catholic's going to be just fine. I wasn't worried about them at all, even in the 2-game losing streak, because – and I think that 2-game losing streak actually was the best thing for them. I really do. It's basically just a reset. I talked to Catholic and talked to Coach Fuller and talked to their players. And sometimes you feel really confident about yourself. You beat a lot of really good teams, start the season, St. Thomas More, Dexter Hand, U-High, feeling you're riding a pretty good wave. And then sometimes it takes like a reset, like, hey, like it takes a punch in the mouth, and how to respond back to that. And I thought they've done a great job in doing that after losing back-to-back games. And yeah, Catholic, this is an important game. These are 2 championship caliber teams. Central won state last year. You're trying to get that big win over Catholic, but they won state last year. David Semino was the head coach at Catholic, and I think it means a whole lot for Coach Fuller and Coach Semino, because they're both connected to the Catholic job, obviously. So it's a big game, and Catholic was able to flex their muscles a little bit with that one. Looking at 4A, looking across the board. North DeSoto, like I said, they look like one of the top teams for sure. They're still undefeated. When you beat West Monroe and how really good West Monroe has been playing over the last couple of weeks, that win's looking more and more impressive. STM's looking really good. Turnlings is still undefeated. Plaquemine, Iowa all won. Franklin Parish won. St. Charles Catholic won. So really the top teams and the top 10 teams all won in 4A tonight. According to the polls, 3A, you have Jules Sumner. I think they played tonight. They got a win. They're 7-0. Mass and Prep. 6-1, especially with the district. Even if they went like 3-3, for them to go through the non-district like they did and handle a lot of 5A teams, and only loss was to Jules Sumner. Not Jules Sumner, Southside. Yeah, Southside. That's really impressive for what they're able to do. Bunkie is still undefeated. A lot of undefeated teams still. U-High won tonight. St. James won tonight. Sterlington. ERAF is still undefeated. They're 7-0, so keep an eye on them. Church Point lost. So, that was a game I think Northwest really needed. I think that was a really a big win there for the Raiders to get that win over Church Point. That was a game, even though the records are different, kind of like a Episcopal and Solar Charter. This was a game I wasn't too shocked, that Northwest was able to win that football game because I think they've been battle tested, and I think a win was coming to them for sure. Wausau Christian looking strong. LCA wins again after after a big game the week before against Lafayette Renaissance. Dunham wins again. Calvary beats Union Parish in impressive fashion too. How about LCA? That was an impressive win over Notre Dame to beat them like that. I think it was like 42-7. That really stood out to me. When LCA's been on a roll, that was a battle of two top 10 teams in 2A. When LCA is on a roll, they're hard to stop for any team. And they've been, for most of the time, besides the Shaw loss, they've been playing really some of the best football in the state from how they've been playing this year. Mangum, I'm going to give a shout out to Mangum tonight. That's a tough 2-game stretch. You beat Faraday last week, a really talented team, and then you beat Oak Grove. I mean, that's a really good 2-game stretch, if I have to say, for Mangum. That is a very impressive 2-game stretch. So shout out to Coach Wilcher over there at Mangum. And then 1A, talked to Coach Washington Hamilton Christian. Everybody talks about Javon Vidal. That was a big win tonight for Hamilton Christian to get a win like that, where it wasn't exactly pretty. They've won a lot of pretty scores. They score a lot of points. Javon Vidal puts up gaudy numbers. But in the end, there's going to be a game where you're not at your best, and you're going to have to overcome some adversity. And that is what Hamilton Christian did tonight. It wasn't pretty. They were down this football game, and to come back and win this football game and come back from behind to win. And that's what they did. They came back from behind, wasn't pretty, and they found a way to win. You're going to have to win games like that in the playoffs because everybody is good in Division IV Select. So this was a much-needed game for them, and they got it. Not only they needed that game, but they won that game. And I think that gives Coach Washington and his team a lot more confidence down the road. But they have a chance to go undefeated in the regular season. Jeanerette, how about Jeanerette being undefeated? I'm sure we'll get Coach on the show as well as they continue to go on. Haynesville looking really sharp as well. Riverside Academy, only one loss. Westminster Opelousas is still undefeated. What a story they've had this year. Kentwood seems like they're getting together after a couple straight wins in a row for them. Southern Lab, I know, kind of a tough loss for them tonight. They're at 3-4. Never thought Southern Lab would be 3-4, but it's been that kind of season. Some injuries, some things going against their way. They've also played some tough teams too, some 5A teams, 4A teams. So I think that's going to be a team. And Southern Lab's like, hey, they're only 3-4, or they're only 4-5, but like, hey, don't look at their record when it comes to playoffs because I know they're going to be ready. They're battle tested because they play a lot of teams. So that records can be deceiving because you play against a lot of top-heavy teams. That will only help you when you get to the playoffs. So I truly believe that, and I think it will help a lot of these teams down the line, even though it might not exactly say that in the win-loss column. And that is pretty much about it, guys. Those are my final takeaways, unless you have anything else that you want to comment just overall in the next 3 minutes or so. But I'm pretty much about to wrap the show up. I want to thank everybody that has took the time today or on the show to comment, to interact, to watch the show. If you like this show, this is also going to be replayed. It's going to be replayed on Facebook. It's going to be replayed as well on Facebook, on YouTube. So you can actually go and watch. I'll have timestamps where you can go back and watch all the coaches' interviews, when I did the score updates, all the interviews I did tonight. You can go back and check that out. Also, I want to give a shout out to our website. I'm going to share the screen with y'all. That way y'all can go to our website because we got a lot of great stuff on our website, gridironfootballusa.com. You see, we still have our Louisiana High School Football Preview Edition. That's still out. So that's our September-October edition. So that's still out. Make sure to click that picture. Order yourself a magazine. That way you can read about. We interviewed 100 high schools, 98 to be precise, but I'm going to round up 98 high schools around the state of Louisiana. So go and check that out. You want to read more about these teams we talk about every single week on Ballin In Da Boot. Make sure to order your magazine right there. Obviously, this is our website. A lot of great content. We have a Gridiron Football Player of the Week. Congratulations to Kendrick John Lewis for opening up nominations for Gridiron Football Player of Week 7 after tonight. So tomorrow, be contacting coaches and try and get nominations for who wins their Gridiron Football Player of Week 7. The winners get Lerman jacket patch that says Gridiron Football Player of the Week. And also, they'll get a interview with me talking about their performance too. We have high school recaps, got a little LSU coverage. Not as much LSU coverage as usual, just because we're dealing with our Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. So tomorrow you'll actually see a couple more commitments on this website. We have a couple more commitments that are playing in our Gridiron Football American Bowl game. That's ramped up. So you want to read more about the guys that will be playing in their prestigious game, make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. That's all the magazines we have. You can check out all of our coverage, college coverage, NFL coverage. Here's our Ball in the Boot show. Like I said, this will also be on YouTube, so you want to go and check that video out, this episode out. That'll be on there. There's all of our Media Day interviews, the Chase with Jace. We'll talk about LSU. We have our Gridiron Football Player of the Week show. All our shows are down here on the website, and also our Going Bowling show that we're bringing on too. So I think that's about it, guys. I appreciate everybody that came on the show today. Can't thank everybody enough. Usually we get about 4 coaches a show, a little bit less on that today, but I mean we had some really we spent a lot of time with the 2 coaches that came on tonight. That's Coach Zachary over there at Liberty, huge win over Zachary tonight, and then Coach Dexter Washington from Hamilton Christian. Also, we played the interview Coach Powell on Thursday night from Amite. So appreciate one more time Tommy's Windows too for being a proud sponsor. Appreciate Tommy as well for supporting us at Gridiron Football. So guys, thank y'all so much for joining me here tonight. Everybody that's bared with me tonight. Appreciate all the likes, comments, shares. Make sure to follow us on Facebook or subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Well, we're going to do the same time next week for Week 8. Man, we are flying by through the season. Week 8 next week is pretty crazy to think about. But y'all go enjoy your football weekend. I'm Jace LeJeune from Gridiron Football. Have yourself a good football weekend. We'll see y'all next week with another exciting edition of Ballin in the Boot.